Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I'm stepping into some spicy territory. I'm talking about the massive leak that spilled the beans on Glock's upcoming V-Series pistols. Imagine spending months planning a slick, coordinated product launch only to have an unauthorized dealer post all the details online. Glock's marketing team is fuming, and honestly, I would be too. In this video, I'm going to break down what the V-Series actually is, why it matters, and how legal pressure from places like California and Chicago pushed Glock into this corner. If you care about concealed carry, self-defense, or just love seeing how the firearms industry responds when regulators turn up the heat, stay tuned. We'll dive into the leaked info, the official confirmation, and what it means for you as a gun owner. Before we jump in, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below with your initial reaction. Are you excited for the new Glocks, or are you skeptical about changes coming from a company famous for keeping things the same? Let's get into it. When rumors started flying that Glock would discontinue nearly every model except the slimline 43 series, the internet exploded. An unauthorized retailer leaked details that the company hadn't intended to share. In an email to Concealed Nation, Glock confirmed that the V-Series is real, but made it clear they weren't ready to announce it. In fact, their message was noticeably irritated. They invest heavily in timed launches that align manufacturing, dealer readiness, and marketing. Having someone else steal that thunder undermines the precision they're known for. The leak robbed Glock of the hype cycle they were building, forcing them into damage control mode. Instead of debuting the V-Series with slick videos and hands-on reviews, they had to send out a reactive statement confirming the leak and scolding the unauthorized parties. As someone who reviews gear for a living, I get it. These reveals are designed to build excitement and help content creators bring you useful information at the right time. Now Glock had to cut the line and say, "Fine, here's the info," when they weren't ready. This premature leak also sparked an online debate about what V stands for. Victory? Version 2? Version 5? Nobody knew. It added to the chaos because it wasn't just a new letter on the slide. It signaled the end of Gen 4 and Gen 5 models as we know them. If you saw social media posts claiming all Glocks are discontinued, now you know where it came from. The truth, as always, is more nuanced. Once Glock acknowledged the leak, they shared an official outline of the V-Series. According to their statement, V models will be available on shelves and for media loans in December 2025. Each pistol is marked on the slide and frame with a V. Commercial models include G17V, G19V, G19XV, G45V, G26V, G20V MOS, G23V, G23V MOS, G21V MOS, and G44V. Distributor-exclusive models like the G19CV, G45CV, G17CV, and G19XV MOS TB will also appear. Externally, Glock says these pistols will look and feel just like the Gen 5 models you already know. In other words, you won't notice big cosmetic changes on the outside. Additional reporting from USA Carry clarifies that the V-Series will update several of Glock's most popular models, and that some will ship with MOS modular optic system variants. The lineup includes both commercial and distributor-exclusive versions, and each pistol will display the V prominently. Glock emphasizes that the external design and performance will stay consistent, so you don't have to learn a whole new platform. Prices have not been announced. Here's where things get interesting. Although Glock has not explicitly said the V-Series is tied to Glock switch bans, many observers think that's the driving force. The timing of the new lineup coincides with increased regulatory scrutiny and multiple lawsuits over conversion devices. USA Carry notes that many believe Glock is proactively updating internal components to make their pistols more resistant to illegal modifications. Because the externals remain the same, these changes are likely in the firing group and slide geometry, areas that interact with so-called switches. Glock hasn't detailed what's changing, but if you're a gear nerd, expect differences in the trigger bar and sear interface, perhaps eliminating the exposed cruciform shape that California lawmakers say makes conversion too easy. So why would Glock risk alienating loyal fans by altering a formula that's worked for decades? Two words: legal pressure. On March 19, 2024, the city of Chicago filed a first-of-its-kind lawsuit against Glock. The city alleged that Glock unreasonably endangers residents by manufacturing and selling semi-automatic pistols that can be easily converted to machine guns using a cheap autosear, also called a Glock switch. According to the city, law enforcement recovered over 1,100 modified Glocks in Chicago over the preceding 2 years, tied to a wide range of crimes. The lawsuit argues that Glock knows it could redesign the pistols to prevent such conversions but refuses to do so, and Chicago asked the court to halt sales of easily converted models. Mayor Brandon Johnson said selling firearms that can easily be converted makes heinous acts more deadly. The suit uses Illinois' 2023 Firearms Industry Responsibility Act, aiming to hold manufacturers accountable when design choices endanger the public. Investigative reporting by ProPublica added more context. An autosear is a tiny device, often made with a 3D printer, that can transform a Glock into a machine gun. Chicago's new lawsuit, filed after the March case was dismissed, alleges that Glock's design encourages modifications and fails to protect the public. City officials say police have recovered nearly 1,200 Glock pistols equipped with autosears in the last 2 years, all linked to crimes. These devices let shooters empty a magazine in seconds. The city argues that Glock could redesign the internal geometry to make it impossible to attach the switch. Facing such accusations, Glock would be foolish not to address the perceived vulnerability. On the West Coast, California legislators were preparing their own hammer. Assembly Bill 1127, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom on October 10, 2025, bans the retail sale of semi-automatic handguns that can be easily converted into fully automatic weapons. The law specifically targets pistols that can accept Glock switches and goes into effect July 1, 2026. A report on Scott Scoop, a California student news site, explained that this conversion uses small plastic or metal devices attached to the rear of the pistol's slide, interfering with the trigger mechanism and turning the handgun into a fully automatic weapon. According to the article, an Everytown for Gun Safety study found that out of 34 police departments surveyed in 2023, 20 reported recovering more than 560 machine gun conversion devices, with Glock switches accounting for at least 2/3 of those. Gun store owners in California noted that while the law doesn't name Glock, it's clearly aimed at the company's cruciform trigger bar design. Starting July 1, 2026, shops won't be able to sell these pistols, so Glock either had to redesign them or abandon the nation's largest market. Put these pressures together: a major city suing you for enabling machine guns, a state law forbidding your best-selling products, and a growing wave of lawsuits from gun control advocates. Glock's response is to streamline their lineup and update the internals so the guns can't accept switches. They see it as the cost of continuing to serve civilians and law enforcement while fending off bans and lawsuits. As a 2A supporter, I appreciate that they chose adaptation over retreat. Predictably, the firearms community split into 2 camps when news of the V-Series broke. Some shooters were excited. After all, Glock hasn't offered a major generational update since Gen 5. They hoped this meant improved ergonomics, flatter triggers, maybe even different grip angles. Others were skeptical, suspecting that the V designation was just a Gen 5 in disguise, with fewer features and more legal compliance. The fact that initial models will ship without an MOS option irritated some shooters who have come to rely on pistol optics. I even scratched my head at that one. In the leaked rumor, MOS versions weren't mentioned, but Glock's follow-up information confirms that some V models will include MOS variants. Still, people worry that they'll have to buy a non-MOS gun now and upgrade later.
In forums and Reddit threads, I saw comments like, "If ain't broke, don't fix it," and "Glock's finally doing something, about time." Another theme was confusion over whether this marks the end of Gen 5. USA Carry noted that many in the community thought the V might be Roman numeral 5, signaling a Gen 6 under a different name. Glock hasn't clarified whether the V series will replace Gen 5 completely or run alongside it. That uncertainty fuels speculation. Will aftermarket triggers still fit? Will holsters stay the same? For competitive shooters, parts compatibility is a big deal. Personally, I'm cautiously optimistic. Glock earned a loyal following by being simple, reliable, and consistent. If they can maintain that reliability while making the design more tamper-proof, that's a win for lawful users. Yes, we lose some aftermarket compatibility, but we keep the ability to buy new Glocks in California and Chicago. That's a trade-off I can live with. Tell me in the comments where you land. Are you eager to try the V-Series or sticking with your trusty Gen 5?
When I first heard V-Series, my mind went straight to the wish list. If Glock is tinkering with internals anyway, why not fix some long-standing complaints? Here's what I'd love to see. Improved trigger. The stock Glock trigger is utilitarian. Many shooters immediately install a lighter connector or aftermarket flat-face trigger. It would be fantastic if Glock shipped the V-Series with a smoother break and reduced pull weight. In the transcript of my earlier breakdown, I even joked about wanting a factory flat-face trigger to make the pistol 50% better. A cleaner break and more predictable reset would be a huge upgrade. Better sights. For decades, Glock has shipped polymer sights that many call cereal box sights. Upgrading to metal or tritium sights out of the box would show they're listening to consumers. Grip angle and ergonomics. Glock's steep grip angle works for some, but not everyone. My hope was for a slightly less aggressive angle or modular backstraps with more variety. However, Glock says the externals will remain largely the same, so I'm not holding my breath. Still, a textured front strap or subtle contouring could help. Suppress your height sights and MOS integration. Given how popular pistol optics have become, shipping at least half the models with MOS cuts seems obvious. Glock initially said the first wave wouldn't be MOS, which felt like a marketing ploy to sell two versions. Fortunately, follow-up information confirms that MOS variants will be available. I'd love to see them standardize the optic cut across models to avoid confusion. Will we get any of this? Probably not all at once. Glock is conservative by design. But as someone who loves tinkering with triggers and sights, I'd love fewer reasons to immediately modify a brand new gun. Fingers crossed. The V-Series isn't happening in a vacuum. The entire firearms industry is in a period of rapid change, driven by technology and regulation. Companies like Sig Sauer, Walther, CZ, and Shadow Systems have been pushing innovative triggers, optics-ready slides, and improved ergonomics. Meanwhile, state and local governments are increasingly legislating technical specifications. California's AB 1127 is just one example of regulators stepping in when manufacturers don't self-regulate. Chicago's lawsuit goes further by seeking damages for past design choices. When the most conservative brand in the market says, "All right, we'll redesign our pistol," you know the landscape is shifting. There's also a moral dimension. Responsible gun owners like you and me don't want criminals easily converting pistols into machine guns. At the same time, we don't want politicians using the actions of criminals to strip law-abiding citizens of their rights. Glock's V-Series is an attempt to thread that needle. By making the guns harder to modify, they undercut arguments that their products are uniquely dangerous, while still delivering reliable sidearms to lawful users. It's not about appeasing anti-gun activists, it's about ensuring the Second Amendment survives in an era of heightened scrutiny. From a market perspective, the V-Series also helps Glock streamline manufacturing.
Glock's discontinued models page lists 34 models being phased out. Reducing the catalog allows them to focus on models that drive innovation and growth. As the USA Carry article notes, this may impact aftermarket parts compatibility and forces us to reevaluate our gear. But it may also mean Glock can invest more in research and development instead of keeping multiple generations alive. So there you have it. Glock's V-Series is more than a new letter on the slide. It's a strategic response to a wave of lawsuits, new regulations, and the growing threat of illegal conversion devices. The company confirmed that the first V-Series pistols will hit shelves in December 2025 and listed the models you can expect. They insist the externals will remain familiar, but many observers believe the internal changes are designed to thwart Glock switches. Pressure from Chicago's lawsuit and California's AB 1127 made change unavoidable. Now it's your turn. Will you pick up a V-Series Glock when they hit stores? Do you think Glock is doing the right thing by redesigning their pistols to stay ahead of regulations? Or should they have fought harder in court? Drop your thoughts below and let's discuss. If you appreciate deep dives like this, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be back with hands-on impressions once I get my mitts on a G19V. Until then, stay safe, keep training, and as always, hold 'em down.